and welcome to my office on this Sunday afternoon. And I wanted to talk about a bike that was released late last week. But before I get into that, if you could hit subscribe, that would be awesome. Anyway, now that bike was the BMW R12S, and on this sort of sneak peek on Facebook where you could see the flash of orange, I was quite excited to see what this bike might look like. And then by Thursday, 5 o'clock, when it had been released, I have to say, whilst from a broadly speaking aesthetic perspective, from a colour and sort of squint your eyes styling, it's quite faithful to the R90S, which was a beautiful bike in its day. But I do wonder what BMW are trying to do with their heritage collection, in as much that when I took the R12-9T out, whatever it was, this purple thing here, when I took that out earlier this year, I felt that the bike was a sort of Chinese/Japanese copy of a BMW, and it didn't feel authentically BMW, or the build quality wasn't. It did ride phenomenally well. I can't take that away from it. A cracking bike to ride, but looks wise it didn't feel like it was up to the standard of what the R9T had left behind. Now specifically on the R12S, what I'm genuinely not sure about is that bike's a lot of money for a poor, frankly, copy or a representation of a copy of a bike that you could make out of a earlier R9T and is more authentically analog than the sort of faux digitization of what BMW are trying to be, particularly considering sort of all the regulations on emissions and all that other bits and bobs. And I'll show you an example. So here you can see a 719 option R9T from 2 years ago. Now, when I bought one of these, I believe I paid £19,000 for that. And here's one at a BMW dealer with 9 and a bit thousand miles for 10 grand. You could chuck a seat cal on that, tidy the back end up by Daedalus or Fancy Bike Thing, put a nice can on, and away you go. You're in for maybe £11,000-12,000 on a very cool bike that is less restricted from an emissions perspective and a little bit easier to modify than the R12S will probably be. Or if you wanted something genuinely more authentic, there is this R9T Racer, which when it came out, it was a beautiful bike, nothing like it. Maybe the Paul Smart Ducati was the closest representation to this. And I know this bike was biblically uncomfortable, but it was cool as shit. And this one is £6,500. Now you could change the handlebars on it or do some stuff to that and have it as a sort of a true cafe bike, so a bar hopper. And I think that's a nicer bike than the 18,000+ R12S. It'll be a better ride, I think. Maybe not as comfortable, but it'll be a better ride in terms of an analog, authentic experience that the R12 is purporting to be. Now, maybe the R12S will fly off the shelves and I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll see it in the flesh and I'll be wrong. But I don't see where it fits in the marketplace when bikes like that exist. You can save yourself a lot of money, save yourself a lot of depreciation, and have a better bike. Now, what I would have liked to have seen, if they changed the engine to more like the 1250 engine, or for all its foibles, the 1300 engine, apart from its metallic-y, noisy sound and the terrible gearbox, but it would have been a weapon. It would have been incredibly quick. Now, the likes of Pier City Custom or Unit Garage, there's loads of people all over doing incredible things with the older 9Ts, as I'm sure they will with the R12S. But regardless of whether money is an option for you or a consideration for you or not, the olden R9T is a better bike because of what you can do to it. This is a platform for customization, and I think the new one will limit how easy that bike is to customize. Anyway, just my opinion. I would appreciate your thoughts below, even if they're bad thoughts and telling me I'm wrong. That's quite fine. But with that, again, if you could hit subscribe, that would be awesome. Cheers.